Welcome back to my channel. My name is Stacey and I get to be a housewife and a stay-at-home mom, and it is literally a dream come true. In today's video, we're going to be talking about pantry essentials. So if you're interested in that, please keep watching. So if you've been following me for any length of time, you know it has been my dream to be a homemaker. I have literally been working on the skill of homemaking for the last 3 years, like intentionally learning all things homemaking. And it is just in the last year that the thing that I have been focusing on learning and the dreams that I have been dreaming have come together and positioned me to be able to do the thing that I want to do, which is to be a housewife and a stay-at-home mom. I'm very excited about this. Like, you have no idea. To that end, one of the first things that I want to get together or put together and have be really efficient is my kitchen. And right now it works maybe 20% of the time, but I want it to be operating at like a 90 to 95% by the end of the year. And my number one intention is I want to make sure that I am feeding my family healthy, nourishing meals. Like, me and Shanquise are very, very health conscious. And I think one of the reasons why I'm getting to enjoy a later in life pregnancy and I'm, feeling really good postpartum and all of these different things is because I have taken really good care of my physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional self. And I want to continue to do that. But as many of you guys probably know, like, when you are cooking for someone else is very different than when you're cooking for myself. And unfortunately, Shanquise thinks my food is bland. If you read the blog, I put up a post where I talked about that. And it could be the fact that it is because a lot of the food that he consumed on a regular basis for me was when I was pregnant, which I have very different taste buds when I was pregnant. Like, I was eating things that I never eat, like watermelon, okay? Like, my taste buds were off. I have food aversions. Sometimes I could barely even come into the kitchen. So I don't feel like it was a good test of how well I can cook when I was cooking when I was pregnant. And then the food that he ate when we were dating before we lived together, like, I didn't cook every single meal. So there was no monotony, there was no boredom. There was like, surprise, look what I cooked for you. You could do those things when you're not living in the same house. But when you're living in the same house, it could get a little repetitive, could get a little monotonous. And so the second thing that I really want to do is I want to get to a place where he loves my food, and I want him to love my food to such a degree that, like, if he's out and about with his friends and his friends are like, oh yeah, let's go pick up this or pick up that, he's like, oh, no, Stacey cooked. That's how I want him to feel about my food. He does not feel that way. We are starting, if there was a scale of 0 to 10, we're starting at like 1.5, in the sense that he likes how fresh everything is that I cook, but he doesn't necessarily like the flavors. And again, on the blog, I talk about how we have different palates, so that's a little bit of it. But I think the bulk of it, I'm hoping, is because I was pregnant and my taste buds were all over the place, and my energy and my ability to, have skills in the kitchen was they just weren't there. This is what I'm hoping. So third thing is I just want to increase my culinary skills. I adore cooking. There is such satisfaction that I get from cooking, especially cooking from scratch. And so a part of me getting my kitchen together is so that I'm always in a position to be able to prepare the things that I want to be able to prepare. So with those three intentions in mind, one of the things that I did as I was coming into the new year is we really intentionally ate down our pantry, ate down the fridge, ate down the freezer, just ate down everything, so that way at the top of the year I could do a fresh sort of restock and really understand and see what we're spending, what we're consuming, et cetera, et cetera. And I figured out my pantry essentials, and I feel like one of the things that makes cooking 3 meals a day very hard is if your pantry is not stocked properly. Then when you're shopping weekly, bi-weekly, whatever, however frequently you're shopping, it always feels like you're having to spend in excess, or it feels like that one special ingredient is gone because you don't have your basic pantry together. And what I was able to do over this last year, since we've been living together, is track really what we're consuming, how much of it, what it looks like. Even though it wasn't a regular year, I still was able to get enough data that I was able to figure out, okay, these are our pantry staples and let's build from here. So I wrote them down because mom brain is a thing and I ain't got it to be remembering stuff. So the big thing to note is that I broke our pantry down into 5 categories that helps me to remember what the staples are in those categories. So one of the first categories is baking. And in the baking category, I have flour, sugar, brown sugar, self-rising flour, self-rising cornmeal, baking soda, baking powder, and vanilla. So for my baking pantry, those are my essentials. Those are the things that I need. It's because I make cornbread from scratch. I like to make pancakes from scratch. I like to make bread from scratch. I like to make cookies. I'm trying to master a sugar cookie, a chocolate chip cookie, and like a ginger snap cookie. Those are the things that I'm baking on a regular basis. So this is all I need in my baking pantry. Will I eventually expand to like powdered sugar and all these other things? Absolutely. But what I realized is I was wasting money because I didn't have my essentials down yet. I want to master the recipes that I can make with my essentials and then go on to building things where I get like a little bit more specialty ingredients. So those are my baking essentials. Then next I have my stock essentials. And so my stock essentials are things that are like bases that could almost become a meal if I really had to get like creative. So like rice, quinoa, oatmeal, grits, red beans, and pinto beans. Those are my stock. I don't like black beans. We don't really eat pasta. Like I love pasta, but for whatever reason, all of the different types of pastas that I consume, they give me a headache, they give me a little bit of a brain fog. So it's not something that I keep stocked regularly. But you couldn't have paid me $1 million to know that before, because I was buying spaghetti, I was buying penne, I was just buying all this pasta because that's what other people had in their pantry, but I don't eat pasta enough to keep pasta on hand. So that's why it's not a part of my stock. But what we do eat is beans, and I'm happy that Shanquise and I both love beans. But that's the thing, I don't like all beans. I don't like black beans. I feel like my body just does not like a black bean. But a red bean, a pinto bean, absolutely. I also really like lentils, but I haven't figured out how to cook those yet, as well as chickpeas, and I haven't figured out how to cook those without having them in the can. And so that is something that I'm working on that'll eventually become a part of my stock. Then the next category that we have are sauce or condiments, whichever sort of way you want to describe it. But we have hot sauce, mustard, ketchup, banana peppers, roasted red pepper, and peanut butter. Those are the sauces and the condiments that we really use in this house. I'm not saying that we don't get into mayo or we don't get into relish or things like that, but we do not consume them enough to keep a backstock of mayonnaise in the refrigerator, because I haven't probably had mayonnaise all year, and I don't really eat it because of the egg part. And then Shanquise doesn't really eat it because he's not a super sandwich person. So we have like the large mayonnaise container in the refrigerator that's basically been there the whole year, because that's not a condiment we regularly reach for. But ketchup, we are flying through ketchup. So that is something that is an essential in my pantry. And I'm using the word essential because it isn't the full pantry, it's just the essential pantry. And I wanted my essential pantry to be affordable. So this is around $100 to $125, and it lasts for at least anywhere between a month to a quarter, depending on what item it is. But those are my sauces / condiments. And then I have my staples. What are my essential staples? So for me, it's olive oil, grapeseed oil, balsamic vinegar, broth, and Worcestershire. So olive oil is my preferred cooking oil, but we all know olive oil, the price point is sometimes out of this world. And also olive oil, sometimes it's a little bit too thick for some of the things that I want to cook. And so grapeseed becomes my cooking oil. And I have gone through them all. Y'all know I can't eat avocado, so that's why I don't do avocado. I like peanut oil, but it can get a little bit heavy. Corn oil can get a little bit heavy. Canola oil can get a little bit heavy. So I'm not saying I won't have them in my pantry, but they're not my essentials because I don't reach for them often enough for them to be an essential. Same thing with the balsamic vinegar. I started to put like a red wine vinegar and a white vinegar on here because I do use it occasionally, but I don't use it as much as I use a balsamic vinegar. I will whip up some balsamic reduction in a minute. I will make a dressing out of balsamic vinegar in a minute. But red wine, white wine, I reach for it a little bit less. So again, it's about the essentials. And then the same thing with broth. Like broth just brings out the flavors of things. Eventually I want to make all of my broths from scratch, but until I can get there, that is something that I do like to have on hand. And then Worcestershire, just so I can have that extra kick and umami flavors in some of my foods. The last category of my pantry essentials are my spices. And I broke my spices into 4 different categories so that I could really understand them. So the first category of spices is just, these are my foundational flavors, period, point blank. If I could only cook with these 5 spices, it would be garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika, salt, and pepper. If those were the only spices, if that was all I could afford, I would be the happiest in all the land. They are my basic spices. And it was really important for me to learn that, because I was buying all these spices thinking that food was just naturally going to start tasting good, but it didn't suit my flavor profile, and it didn't suit Shankisa's flavor profile. And so these 5 spices reach across both of our flavor profiles, and they're very satisfying as basic spices. Then my next category is like really my flavor profile. I haven't fully figured out Shankisa's. He kind of pulls his own spices. And the other thing too is like a lot of spices have soy in it, and so I need spices that don't have soy in it. Shankis can have spices that have soy in it. So when I show you guys the cabinet, I'll show you a little bit more what I'm talking about. But the like kicked up spices, so I have my basics and then I have my kicked up spices, and that is cumin, chili powder, cinnamon, and cayenne. Again, I don't pull on these as much as I pull on those basics, but I do pull on these frequently. And then my third category of spices are dried herbs, because dried herbs really do change the game, especially since now that I am salt free. So my top 3 dried herbs that I'm using all the time are dried oregano, dried parsley, and dried thyme. I'm gonna get into some other dried herbs, but those are the main 3, again, my essentials. And then the last category in my spices are my seasoning blends. So the Green Goddess seasoning from Trader Joe's, love it, love it, love it. I love an adobo seasoning. I know that has salt in it, but I still love an adobo seasoning. There are just some things that can't replace. I am going to start testing the Mrs. Dash seasonings because I'm going salt free. And then I also really like an everything but the bagel seasoning, and those are like the seasoning blends. So when I'm thinking about my pantry, if I have these essentials in my pantry, I can essentially prepare any meal. So like if I needed to make some bread and I have my essential baking pantry ingredients, I can make some bread. If I needed to spice up something that would otherwise be bland, like spice up some quinoa, spice up some rice, if I have my spices on hand, then I can make those very basic ingredients taste good. If I needed to make something a little bit more hearty via adding beans or quinoa or rice, I can make something a little bit more hearty so long as my pantry is stocked. And what I find is that the refrigerator and the freezer fails, and then meal prep fails if my pantry is weak. So that is the first thing that I am getting together, and I feel very excited that I have finally figured out these categories and the ingredients that go in them. Now I'm just gonna clean out the pantry and get everything like wiped down, kind of like top of the year cleaning and whatnot, and maybe do a little restructuring, reorganizing, so that I can see of my pantry essentials, what do I need more of, what do I need to dispose of, etc. I want to just show you this. So this is a pack of bay leaves. This is a pack of bay leaves. And this is why sometimes we have to clean out our pantry, because these were all the way at the top and the back. Look how many bay leaves are in here. And I ended up buying a whole other pack. And then the same thing with these red beans. I'm pretty sure Shanki's got these red beans because there's a brand that I like. But these are way in the back. I would have ended up buying red beans because I couldn't see them. So that is the other thing. I wanted to just get everything super organized. And I like the idea of having a cozy pantry as opposed to an extraordinarily like large pantry. It keeps me very creative. I find that the cozier things are, the more creative I am. So we are going to check things off as I put them away. So first thing is we have our quinoa, and I also have back stock of quinoa that I got from Costco. This shows you how much I was not eating food that I purchased when I was pregnant because I couldn't cook and my food aversions were just out of this world. So I have a really nice back stock of quinoa, and that is really, really amazing. So we have our quinoa here. Then we have rice, which rice goes in here, which I have a really big back stock of rice. I know that I have rice, but I don't have any space on the counter to put that in there, but I'm just gonna put that empty one in there just to know that that's rice, and then we'll fill that up in just a second. Then I have pinto beans. I'm gonna do beans on that side. And then I have red beans, which I'm actually gonna use this for red beans. Quickly, just put these up here. I'm just gonna get these put away, and then I'll grab another jar for my rice. We gotta get those used, and I will likely use these red beans in a recipe before I order more red beans, just so that I'm not mixing, because I really like the brand of red beans I use. So that is my red beans there. Then we have grits here, and I'm gonna do that there. And then we also need a container for oatmeal. We don't have any oatmeal, so that's the only thing that I need to buy. Let me grab a container for my rice. I could have sworn, yeah, I know I have 6, but I don't know where that other, well, I know I have, oh wait, here's, oh, popcorn. So we need to switch this popcorn one out to a smaller container. But I'm still missing, because these came in a thing of 6. So this could be my rice. Then I'm missing one more for my oatmeal. But I'm gonna switch that container out. Figured out where my other large jar is, and it's in use. So instead of just buying a whole nother pack, I'm gonna see if I can look out to try to find a smaller jar. And then, I mean a large jar. And, but until then, I'm definitely gonna put rice in here, and then I think what I'll do, I'm gonna wash this and put rice in here. I'm gonna wash this and put rice in here, and then I think I'm going to reduce my quinoa one down to a size like this, because I'm doing it, but I'm not doing it as much as my oats, as you can see, because the oats are gone. And then that way, my large jars would be pinto, red, rice, grits, oats, and then my smaller jars will be this. That's what I'm thinking. And this is why we clean out our pantry, so that we can think things through. So I need to wash this. Okay, something else that I'm saying is, like, obviously the 32 ounce is my smaller jar from the 62 ounce. But because I pulled everything out, I can see how this has just been sitting in here for a very long time. You guys can go back to a grocery haul and see that these sliver of almonds have been sitting here. And what I'm trying to do at the top of the year is get my essential pantry stocked. So I'm actually gonna take these slivered almonds, transfer them to a plastic bag, and then bring this quinoa down to this 32 ounce jar, so that way what I'm putting back on the shelf is the essential pantry, because eventually I will buy more slivered almonds. But if I see this like this, in my mind I'm like, oh, I need slivered almonds, but in reality that's not what I need yet. I need my essential pantry stocked, and then I can add to it. And then also, if you're anything like me, whatever I see is what I'm thinking is there to cook with, and this doesn't look like this is enough to cook, and I can't think of a whole meal. Versus if quinoa was in here and it was about this full, I know I still at least have like a cup or half a cup of quinoa. So that's the other thing that's really beneficial to just like pulling everything out, because you get to see what your storage solutions are, and you get to like rearrange and adjust. And I tried to do this while I was pregnant, and my brain was like, blah, 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 blah. No. And I'm very happy that now I can do it. So let's get this switched out into a little baggie, and then we'll get that jar washed. Okay, so we got that washed out. Just gonna dry this here. Then I'm going to, if all this stuff wasn't on the counter, it'd probably be a lot safer, better, but I'm going to, that's dangerous. Let's see. Transfer some of my quinoa. So now that's filled. And I'm just gonna use the same lid that was on that one. So now I have my quinoa in a smaller jar. This quinoa I'm just gonna put back in its container because it's still gonna be fresh. And this can go back into my back stock. And now I can use this for my rice or my oats. This one washed. So I literally have such a large bag of rice that it doesn't make sense to lift it. That is all of those. So I have our rice. This is going to be oats. Some quinoa here. This popcorn isn't a part of my essential pantry, but I need to put it on there because you guys know popcorn is my favorite. So I'm going to put that as a stock piece as well. Another good reason to go through it because otherwise you miss it. So now I know this shelf isn't done, but I'm gonna go to these seasonings because we have a ton of seasonings. But again, some seasonings are like quite literally there for decoration because I'm not really using them or they're not healthy for me and I just got them because that's what everybody else gets. And so I want to change that. So first things first, I'm just gonna take all of them off the little rotating things. I don't know if I'm gonna use these, but I'm going to take them off the little rotating things. I think sometimes like you're influenced to buy organizational things that work, but they also sometimes just encourage you to buy so much more stuff because it's like rotating trays of 3 different types of seasonings, yet my man thinks my food is bland. How we got all these seasonings? How we got all these seasonings and he thinks my food is bland? That's bananas to me. I'm going to just right here, just visually so I can see, put them right here. So this is garlic powder. It used to be one of these other containers. I just took the label off. I have a large backstock of garlic powder because that's how much garlic powder I use. It is one of my main ingredients. So I have garlic powder. I know that I have that. Then I have onion powder. I'm getting my first 5. Onion powder. Then where's my paprika? I actually might be out of paprika. I think. Oh no. Okay. I have a small thing of paprika. I want to get my paprika to this size because I always use it. And then I have some coarse black salt and some sea salt. These are my main. I do use coarse black pepper and sea salt over a pink Himalayan salt and a table salt or a ground pepper, but I do want to add those. My top 5 cannot fit on here, and I could raise that shelf up, but before I do that, I don't know if I'm going to raise that yet. I'm just going to pull this down and put my top 5 over here in the corner, just so I know that I have those. Okay, so those are my top 5. I'm gonna check those off because I have them. I'm leaving my paprika a little bit unchecked because I do want to make it a larger container like that. Then I'm going to my cumin, chili powder, cinnamon, and cayenne. Let's see. I know I have them. So cinnamon, cayenne, cumin, and there should be a chili powder and a chili powder. And I switched over to this brand because it is very fresh and the ingredients are minimal, and I needed less of the extra things that people put into things. So these are my next 4. I'm just gonna leave these right here for just a second. Then I'm gonna go to, actually I probably need a little more cumin. Okay, so I need a little bit more cumin, but I'm gonna check the other ones. And then I have oregano, which I know I thought I saw an oregano. Yeah. So then, okay, I'm gonna put these there. Then I have oregano. Then I have parsley, which again, this brand. And then thyme. So I need another oregano. I have a full parsley and then thyme. And then something that I forgot until I pulled it out of the cabinet is bay leaves. That's my other dried herb. And I have these bay leaves and I also have these bay leaves. I'm just gonna put these in here, which I may eventually come up with another storage solution so that everything looks nice and pretty. But for right now, I just wanna see them. And then for my specialty seasonings, I have my Green Goddess. I have my adobo, and then I have my dash, but I don't have any dash right now, but I do know that I want to add that. Then I also have another Green Goddess, so I have a back stock on Green Goddess. No. Oh, I have some dried thyme. I do. I didn't put that up there. Oops. I didn't put that up there. Dried thyme. That goes in my herbs. Let's see, what else do I have? Everything but the bagel. I thought I had another. Oh, I do. Okay. Then I have everything but the bagel. I have this, and then I also have this Trader Joe's one that is left over. So those are all of my adobo. Everything but bagel. Okay, so these are all of my main seasonings. So I'm just gonna put, can I fit that on there? I can't. So I'm just gonna put all of these up here. I shouldn't have put these up here. Because I don't know. I'm just gonna put these all up here because when I have these, I have a full pantry. So that's what all those are. I'll figure out how I'm going to organize those. So now I want to look through all of this and see what all of this is about. So these are sweeteners. I'm going to pull these to the side because those are going to go in the baking specialty. These are some croutons. These are chantilly. I can't have them. They have soy. I'm not going to put those up there. I'll just come back to them in a second. Okay, I have some ground cloves, Cajun seasoning, turmeric, sage, allspice. I'm just gonna put my seasonings. White pepper, crushed red pepper flakes, lemon pepper. This is some seasoning for ribs. It's a smokehouse maple seasoning. Then this is Italian seasoning. I do use this. Okay, so then these are additional seasonings. I'm gonna write these down. These are probably seasonings that I bought because the recipe called for it. Although I do actually use lemon pepper. I'm gonna put that under, I'm gonna add that to my specialty seasoning essential because I do use that a lot. And then Italian seasoning, because this is a blend, excuse me, and I could probably make it on my own. I'm not gonna include it because I think I'm gonna start blending that on my own. I actually really do use red pepper flakes, so I'm gonna add that to my second column because I use these a lot. Put those up there. So all of this other seasoning, white pepper I just got into. Sage is usually like a Thanksgiving. And then I do use this Grill Master for my ribs. I am learning to make my own sort of blend for ribs, but until I get it perfected, I'm using that. So I'm gonna put that under my specialty. And then these are all pulled for specific things. I use the turmeric for my golden milk. And I also use it when I'm making my dairy-free butter. So I'm gonna pull this up and put that under the second category. Well, is turmeric a dried? Yeah, turmeric is a dried herb. I'm gonna put that there. Just because it does give me like fun things to drink. Okay, so then yeah, I rarely pull for those. So then we still have a few other seasonings over here. So this is a barbecue rib. That is one of Shankisa's favorites. I haven't actually looked at. It doesn't have any what's your face in it. It doesn't have any soy in it. But it is expired in 2023. So we're gonna toss that. This is some popcorn seasoning that is really good, but I can't eat it. It ripped me to shreds. This is some of Shankisa's like favorite like chicken seasoning. So I'm gonna add this to the specialty seasonings, because when I do his chicken, I can put that on there. That's his favorite. And then this is his favorite brand of lemon pepper, and there's one more, I can't remember what it is, but this is his favorite brand. It's like ranch and lemon pepper seasoning and something else. So I'm gonna add that to that ranch lemon pepper, because that's a staple for him. And since I'm cooking, it's a staple for me. Everything else, not staples. Okay, I love that. For my spice staples, I have my larger containers down here and then the smaller containers up here. And I'm just gonna put this over here for back stock. The smaller containers up here. And so this is now organized, and then like maybe next week or something like that, I'll think about storage solutions for my staples first, and then I will go into my next thing. But so far so good. So now we're at sauces and condiments. So this is hot sauce. Dang it, can't fit there. And I need to add this barbecue sauce. That can't fit there either. Okay, so I'm definitely gonna have to raise that shelf. But BBQ. Okay, so but we have barbecue, hot sauce, peanut butter, and then I know I have some mustard in the fridge, but I'm just gonna mark this off because we essentially, this hot sauce is almost done. This peanut butter is almost done. So I need my sauces and condiments. So I need hot sauce, mustard, ketchup, banana peppers, and peanut butter. Roasted red peppers, I don't eat those as often, so I'm just gonna pull those off for now and then add them to my other. But that would be sauces, and I need to have a little bit more. Does it fit here? Okay, so we'll go here. It goes, if it's all the way at the top. So we'll do that for sauces. Now I know what I need to order. And then last but certainly, well no, we have 2 more categories left. Okay, so I know things probably look a little bit like they're a mess, but I feel really good because things are coming together. So now we need my baking essentials. And so again, we haven't quite figured out what the storage solutions are gonna be, but I just wanna mark them off. So this is flour, plus I have this flour here. I need to switch those out. So we have flour. This is sugar. We have that. And I do bake a lot more than what I would have imagined. And so I'm going to leave baking stuff on the counter versus putting it in the cabinet. I thought I had some brown sugar. I do. I have brown sugar, okay. Okay, so let me actually pull all of that stuff down so that I can see it. You know how you're like, I don't have any food. Yeah, you do. It's just spread all over. Okay, so then brown sugar is there. And then I have self-rising flour and self-rising cornstarch. Just put these over here. And then I have baking soda, baking powder, and vanilla. So this is baking powder, this is baking soda, and then this is vanilla. So this is my essential baking pantry. These items right here, and I'm gonna find a storage solution that's on counter for all of these. items. That's my essential baking pantry. Here are other things that I have in my baking pantry. This is powdered sugar. This is a really delicious baking cocoa. It's Dutch processed. I have lemon extract. I have almond extract. I have agave. I have maple syrup. And then I would say these almond slivers. Sometimes they go into the salads. I also have some honey here. So those would probably be the additions to my pantry, but my baking pantry. But again, I just want to get the essentials put away, and then I will come back and do additional. Oh, this is that healthy salt that I have. It's not my main salt, so I'm just going to put it over here. And then I'm going to put these croutons under condiments. Keep those. Okay, so we have those under condiments. For now, I'm just going to leave these on the counter like this so that I can see them and figure out what I'm going to order from to get all of these stored. I'm probably just going to get these containers, but in a different shape. So I'll just have to let Shankees know so he doesn't dump that. I'll put this flour at the bottom for now until I can get that cleaned out. Okay. So I changed my mind. I cleaned out this cabinet, which is where I had some baking essentials before. And I'm going to put these back here because I think they could work. What I'm going to do, I'm still going to find containers for these, but just in the interim, because we don't have that much counter space, I'm going to pull these up here and just have my essentials on this shelf. Yeah, that's what we'll do. So these are my essentials on this shelf here. And then I'll put those few specialty things. This cocoa powder, powdered sugar, these extracts, honey, agave, maple syrup. Okay, yeah. So that makes sense. So this will be my baking cabinet. And for that, I'll also put this up here, which is a cake thing that I got. I can put those up there so that way you can see it. And then I'll just do all baked goods in there because I am baking a lot to save counter space. Okay, I like that. So that's up and off the counter. I don't want to put those away just yet. I just need to think that through. Okay, I might not use these turntables. Okay, so last but certainly not least, in the pantry, I have my staples. So olive oil, grapeseed oil, balsamic vinegar, broth, and Worcestershire. So I know I don't have any olive oil. This is the only amount of grapeseed oil that I have left. So I know I need to get some more grapeseed oil. Then I do have, I'm gonna just put this here. So I have olive oil, my balsamic vinegar, olive oil, my balsamic vinegar, put this here, and then Worcestershire, and then broth. So then broth, I just did these because again, I'm going to be making my own broth, but sometimes when I make food for Shankees, it's just easier if it's already pre-made because he prefers the flavor of that. So I do have 2 cans of broth. And I'm going to get 2 cans of chicken broth. So that's beef. And I'll get 2 cans of chicken broth. Okay, so then I know from my staples, I need to get some olive oil, grapeseed oil, Worcestershire, and chicken broth to stock the pantry. But, okay, in terms of my pantry essentials, my baking essentials are there. My spice essentials are there. My stock essentials, with the exception of oatmeal, is there. And then my condiments, I need to get hot sauce, peanut butter, mustard, ketchup, banana peppers. So you see how breaking it down into these 5 categories, I now know what I need to get. But if I just looked in my cabinets, it looks like I don't need anything, but I actually do, because a lot of that stuff, while lovely, isn't the stuff that I grab on a regular basis, but it's the stuff that's distracting me from this list. But when I have these things, I cook more. So that is the point of like writing all this down and doing it. It's not to just be conservative with food. It's just to realize that sometimes that stuff gets in the way of seeing what I actually cook with. So now I know what I'm gonna put in my Instacart order. So, okay. I see that we need to get rid of, or not get rid of, but put away. Again, we don't have our full storage solutions, is these additional condiments. So I'm gonna use this ring, and this is sage, white pepper, allspice, ground cloves, white cheddar, popcorn, tahini. This is some fish sauce that I tried to create a recipe with. Italian seasoning, Cajun seasoning, which I love, but I want to make my own just because of the salt content. It's empty. This is like beef bouillon cubes that are soy free. Sazon. So my camera died, but the last thing that I was saying is just how I decided to organize it. And I'm hoping, let me see, can you see that up there? How I decided to organize everything. I'm hoping that this makes sense. Like it literally took all day, but it's so well worth it because I have the things that I use visible. I can now think through storage solutions instead of just buying the stuff that other people have. I want to buy the stuff that fits my cabinets so that way I'm not buying extra stuff. Because if you think about it, before I had 3 of these turntables worth of seasonings in here, but I'm really only using like 1/maybe 2. But even the way that that's organized, it needs to be organized a little bit better, and just getting a better idea of what I'm cooking with. So then when it's time for me to prepare something, I can grab and go relatively easy, and I won't be tricked into thinking that I have a whole bunch of stuff in here, but the ingredients don't know how to go together. So I think that that's the other thing too, is realizing that with my essential pantry, I'll know what ingredients I have that I know how to cook with, versus my extra pantry, which has those specialty things that I'll learn to incorporate and become a part of my essential pantry. But for right now, I know what I need baseline to be able to do. And so that is it. If you watch this whole entire video, then that means you are into, which is likely going to be what my Happy Homemaker series, I think is what it's going to be called. You are likely going to be into it. And for the most part, all around this kitchen, that's how I'm breaking it down. So first thing we got is our pantry together. I'm going to get my freezer together, my fridge together, my back pantry together, all of my dishes, flatware, cookware together, decorating the kitchen. This is my least favorite room in the entire apartment, but I do want to jazz it up a little bit because I'm going to be in here, and so there's going to be a little bit of a series, and so there is more to come. If you have any questions, or if you feel like there's anything that I left off, please let me know in the comments, and I'll talk to you very, very soon. Bye. So I finished up cleaning out my pantry, and I'm going to enjoy some buttermilk homemade cornbread and more of my black eyed peas that I made for the new year.